Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to your October 2018 love reading. It's raining here. Not it's raining here. Somebody goes, it's always raining where you are. No, Raina. I always have a laugh for that one. Okay, and the last card. Okay, I'm going to pick another card. There's certain cards in the deck that I always pick an additional card. Okay, here we go. Just because. Okay, so first and foremost, what we have here is a card that, well, I'm just kind of talking to myself, I guess. This is the heart of the matter, the Six of Pentacles. I did Pisces reading, and I got this as the last card, and here I get it in yours as the first card. And the Six of Pentacles has different definitions. I think this was the exact card where somebody wrote to me and they said, that's not what it's about. It's about this. It means this. And, you know, I was just reading about how we have to take the core meanings and make them our own. And I think that is so crucial because this is the springboard. When you're reading cards, it's not about getting legalistic. It's really, this is where the intuitive part comes in, whatever that means, whatever that word means to you, whether it means like you're actually feeling a certain message coming through, or you're simply looking at things from your own point of view, you know? And for me, because I know that, you see the man, he's giving a coin to people that have their hands outstretched. In the Rider-Waite version of this is the Morgan Greer deck. In the Rider-Waite version that Pamela Coleman illustrated, they show a man who's obviously very well-to-do. This one kind of shows a similar thing, but the people are shown more, and you can see that they have a different, you know, economic level. They could be beggars, okay? And this man has it within himself to be able to give this to them. So if you want to get really, really literal about it, this card can mean one person receiving the material benefit coming from another who has the means to give it to him or her. This is a love reading, so we're not going to look at it from those terms, although that could play into things. If you're in a committed partnership and you feel like you must depend on your partner for your money, that could be like bothering you. Or if you feel like you have to give it to your partner. So there might be an imbalance in a serious relationship, a marriage, or the equivalent, where one person may be staying home with the kids and is on an allowance, and the other person is kind of controlling the purse strings, and the person who is receiving it may feel like they are dependent on that person. Maybe that the person staying at home or out of work, it could be out of work, has always been taking care of themselves financially, but they're staying home with the kids, or they just don't have a job at the moment, and they feel that sting of being in a dependent position, especially if the spouse is kind of grumbling about having to do it, or, you know, kind of rubbing it in, or taking advantage of the situation to exert power. I have recently done a set of videos on narcissism. You can find it on my channel if that topic interests you, and I have done it for each element. I've kind of separated them out that way. Some of the comments have been quite interesting. But one of the ways that people who have this tendency try to control others is through the purse strings. So for some people in problematic relationships, this could be adding to it. This could be like, or maybe highlighting what the problems are in the relationship. But if we take it out even further, I mean, in a more broad sense, this is a card of giving and receiving. So ask yourself, Aquarius, if you are receiving what you give out, if you feel there's an equal exchange. I'm not talking about 50-50, but if you feel that another person is not as invested in the relationship as you are. This can also be an earth sign individual in your life at the moment, okay? So Taurus, which is another fixed sign, or Virgo, or Capricorn. What is crossing you? The challenge is the Ten of Cups. This is a card of disrupted family happiness, okay? Also can be like a marriage that doesn't take place, because this is the marriage card. And basically, I think it can be just the honeymoon phase kind of fades away right quick, because your happily ever after can go south. And it may have to do with your partner's attitude towards money, and it could be either way. Either they are trying to control you through money, or they're not working and you feel resentful that you have to do everything. Maybe you feel like that there's a financial imbalance in your relationship and you don't like that. And so something about that is causing problems. Let's keep going here. This is the foundation card that can indicate the past situation, the Tower card. So this is some kind of a surprise. This would have been something that already occurred. Of course, I always think of the eclipses as this kind of shock to the system, because they're kind of change agents that you may not have bargained for. So with the eclipses, the one in August hit your committed partnership sector. It was in Leo, and even into October you may still be feeling or reeling from some of the effects. So it was a solar eclipse, so it could have been a very new beginning that happened, but sometimes, as I've noted before, even a divorce can be like a beginning of a new chapter in a couple's life. But that chapter is going to take them in different directions, obviously. So in and of itself, the Tower card does not indicate what is the nature of that shock to the system. However, we could surmise that either, I mean, I'm thinking even when you had your lunar eclipse in your sign, that might have been a eureka moment for you, that you realized, that could be it too, that you realized what has really been going on. And there may have been a particular event that highlighted this, or perhaps it was simply you connecting the dots, where you could see that a certain trend, or, you know, like a pattern had developed, and it wasn't a healthy one, because it was an imbalance between the two of you, and it was affecting the marriage. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay, so this is the higher message, meaning that you have to choose. But maybe you're, see the blindfold, maybe you're in denial over something and you are refusing to choose, but you have to choose. Now, this is something I didn't mention before, but it certainly could be the case that with the Tower card, you may have experienced a sudden attraction to somebody that has led to a disruption in your marriage. And perhaps it is with an earth sign individual. Even this as the current or the practical matters, not necessarily philosophical. We have the Ace of Pentacles. In some cases, this could have been you being in a new job where you met somebody at work, and that coworker you had a sudden attraction to. And you know, perhaps this person feels a lot more compatible with you than the person that you have been with. But going back to that Six of Pentacles, if that was some kind of a situation that is going on in your committed partnership, then you were vulnerable, perhaps, to some kind of a new person coming into your life, because you already had that sense of imbalance, that sense of dissatisfaction, that there was a disconnect between you and that person. Maybe that person simply is not that into the relationship the way that you are, and you know it, and it bothers you, but now there may be a new person who is kind of a possible better matchup for you. Well, if there's anything like that, there is that sense that perhaps the dilemma, which the Two of Swords represents, is going on with you on a spiritual basis, where you are kind of debating the matter in terms of morals, you know, ethics. Even what is coming in is represented by the Hierophant is like the more spiritual than the material. Interestingly, though, this card supposedly connects with Taurus, and I had mentioned that as one of the earth signs. Now, Taurus in and of itself is not going to be a compatible sign with Aquarius. I said in and of itself because there are so many factors that could mitigate that. But they're both fixed signs, so there may be that attraction that kind of initially makes them connect, but overall they have such a different way of looking at life, and just the way that they see things is quite different. And so because of this, maybe that Six of Pentacles person is the Taurus and is no longer somebody that you can see yourself with for the long term. And yet you are considering them because you may be married to them. The Hierophant can connect to marriage, it can connect to tradition, and therefore that's what marriage represents a lot of times. And the funny thing about Aquarius is that Aquarius is a sign of nonconformity, but there's a little bit of a contrarian aspect to Aquarius, maybe a lot of contrarian ability or capability within you guys. And nowadays, because marriage isn't necessarily the first thing that somebody does, I wonder if a lot of Aquarians are getting married just because it's not necessarily that big a deal anymore. And so you have to do the opposite. I don't know. That's just something that came to me. But the Hierophant can be about the kind of societal pressures to conform and how that relates to your life. If you're living in an area where marriage is touted as this thing that you have to like maintain at any cost, and if you're in an unhappy marriage, Aquarius, you may still feel, even though you have that tendency to go against the grain, that you must sacrifice for the sake of keeping those vows and doing what you promised to do. I think even as a fixed sign, you may feel like you have to stick it out, or whatever that saying is. Just see it through. And that is one of the blind sides that I see of fixed signs, is that they sometimes are a little bit too loyal to people or situations than they should be. Lurking somewhere in there is probably a fear of change more than pure out-and-out loyalty, because as I stated, I think that for some of you, you may have met somebody where you just had this instantaneous attraction, and that is definitely, you know, making it hard to stay in this committed relationship. The outcome, and I did pick an additional card, is the Seven of Wands. This is a defensive posture. This is somebody who's fending off an attack in some way. Now, one thing I didn't mention before is that with the Six of Pentacles, I was wondering if it was possible that any of you are going through divorces right now. And there is this, I mean, this could be, you know, this Ten of Cups in reverse could be the, you know, showing that the marriage has, you know, turned upside down. And maybe even suddenly ended, and now you're kind of fighting for the money and all that stuff. And this could be kind of reiterating that you are on the defensive with this person. And just in general, you may feel like it's unfair. I get this feeling of like it's unfair what is being done here. Like even if you have met somebody else and you want to leave a marriage, you may feel like you're going to get so much crap for this. And yet inside you feel like you were wronged, that you were in a relationship that the other person did not put into it what they should have. And now if you leave it, you're going to get the brunt of all of this. But I did pick an additional card to see, and it was another fiery energy, but this time it's the Ace of Wands. So I feel like you have the confidence to still proceed, and that you are like very committed to forging your own trail. The Ace of Wands is a card that I associate with a very Aries energy. I don't know if it does. It's fire for sure, but the other fire signs are Leo and Sagittarius. But just that sense of like, I'm going to do it my own way. And also, so that sense of independence, but also the sense of passion, that you want something more for your life. It's possible that you were kind of in this holding pattern of giving and not having the same come back to you in terms of a person who was very, you know, maybe they were not as committed to you in terms of investing energy in the relationship, or if this was a financial dispute, you may have felt like they were trying to lord over on you with the money thing, and now you're just like, I am going to stand on my own 2 feet. And even if you're staying in this relationship, I feel like you're like standing your ground and like not apologizing for being in this position, because It could be as simple as you decided to stay home to raise the children. And if the other person doesn't approve of that for some reason, or maybe they approved at the beginning and then they decided that they didn't like it, you are not going to apologize for it because you feel like it's the right thing to do. But in the back of your mind, if you're still in that relationship, you may be thinking not only of getting your own, maybe starting your own business, which you can do from home, or possibly getting some kind of a job and being able to financially support yourself, or just in general be on your own, because you realize that this situation isn't what you want. Okay, that's what I have for you. And by the way, that Ace of Wands could be the start of a new passionate relationship. Maybe you've been in a very practical type of a, especially if it's with an earth sign, and everything was very predictable. And Aquarians are looking for things that, I mean, you do have your enjoyment of routine like all fixed signs, but there's always that wild card on energy, since your ruler is Uranus, that gets you enjoying to surprise other people from time to time and welcome change, because that's what the Tower is all about, is sudden change. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this, Aquarius, and if you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Have an amazing October. Bye.